Hello. Happy wishing hour. I am wide awoke. And I thought that I would just come by and talk for a second here. Um, I want to talk about something that hopefully doesn't trigger too many people. I think a lot of people get a little too upset about when people post in social media. And I mean, sometimes you just got to face the truth about certain things, okay? So, and since I'm a teacher of magic, I wanted to come and speak about a few things. What I've noticed is that there are some people that seem to think that being a witch or a warlock is about being a horrible person, or it's about um, being a bad person, being a liar, or it's about being a tyrant. And it's actually not about that. In fact, there is serious repercussions to that. I think that our mothers or grandmothers, instead of telling us, or our fathers, instead of telling us not to practice, they should have taught us safe ways to practice the craft. And this is very important. It is. Because what I want to talk about is going to save a lot of people in the long run. You know, the cleaner you keep your hands, the better. And that's just in everyday life. It is just in like everyday life. You know what I'm saying? And so you can do things to temporarily harm somebody, and you can do things to try to hurt them. But especially if you're either dealing with an experienced witch or the victim goes to see an experienced witch, you would be surprised at how often, when there is a problem or a situation imposed, how not only the spirit, and this is not just Jesus or even Jesus, or this has nothing to do with religion. You'd be shocked at how often awful, horrible things are done to people through curses and things of that nature, and how the victim not only comes out okay, but they also come out on top, and then they also come out with more than what they had before. And the person or persons that meticulously does these things to do harm, how karma always gets them. Okay. Now, if you feel the need to reverse a hex or a curse real quick, hey, truly yours. Hello. Happy witching hour. Now, if you choose to reverse a hex real quick because you want some quick results, but if it's a situation that is messed up, right? And depending on what the situation is and what a witch caused, you can find yourself completely messed up. And a person doesn't even have to put a curse on you, especially when a person didn't deserve that. You know what I mean? So you have to love yourself. I wouldn't touch witchcraft if you don't have self love. It's not worth it. Doing something extreme to somebody with witchcraft is equivalent to murdering them and going to prison for the rest of your life. It's equivalent to that, especially when a person is not. All right, y'all, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. I had my sound, it got knocked out. So, I've seen and I've been underneath um, several different types of curses in my life. I've had Haitian voodoo curses on me. I've had African voodoo curses on me. I've had Santeria curses on me. I've had death magic put on me. I've had all kinds of stuff put on me. Things that I did not deserve. And guess what? Spirit always took care of me to the point where I just do the work and I don't worry about it. I promise you. Now, I think that those of you that are victims of witchcraft, I think that you got to understand that there are so many different things that you can do to help yourself. One of the most popular things for some reason, and I think people that do this, I think that they really want to die. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think that when people do stuff like that, they really don't care about themselves. And I'm not trying to be extreme or be mean to nobody. I'm just being a mother witch. I am. I'm being the guide. I'm being the light. I want to warn people about certain stuff. You do not do things to mess with people's livelihood. Spirit gonna always make a way. You don't do things to mess with people's children. You don't do things to hurt people like that. Sometimes even if they deserve it. Because spirit doesn't really see an excuse for that. Now, if a person raped somebody or murdered somebody, that's a different story. Okay. Yeah, that's a different story. But if a person is, you know, if you just want to bully somebody, mm-mm. If you the personality type of a bully, or you can't really regulate your emotions, or if you have like those sociopathic traits to where you just want to attack somebody, and oh, I know how to conjure this and conjure that, you got to understand, oh my God, every single time. And I done seen people messed up. I had a client uh about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and it was a real extreme case. I mean, this lady was going through it, and her finances was all messed up. She said the money coming in slow and the bills are coming in fast. It was definitely a curse on her. And so I removed it, okay? And I'm not going to say that. I removed it. And there were so many other things that I had to do for her, though, to help rebuild her life. But it worked, and she's fine. And I got blessed for that, because there's some people that are scared of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I know how to do, you know, the work to get it done. She was going through it. I had to do a variety of things for her. Not just candle work, but I had to do all kind of salt jars and just, oh my God, banishings. It was so much. Oh my God. And these were not demons, these were spirits. Because a lot of people always say, oh, demons, demons, demons. Uh, I guess. Well, I guess there is no difference. Um, Freezer spells to, for different purposes, and just, oh my God, it was a big mess, but she turned out okay. And she's an innocent woman. She hadn't done anything. She just, somebody didn't like her. Somebody was jealous of her. And she's a very sweet person. Very nice woman. Okay. She's actually a healer. And she ended up, after that, she ended up taking my classes too, and started learning, you know. And you know how some people that are witches, because I can read minds, and a lot of these people, they can be an authentic witch, and they just have a lot of knowledge of the craft, and they know how to curse people and know how to do stuff. And I could read this person's mind, and they had convinced themselves that they was teaching that person something, and and that's what that was they was supposed to do. But no, it wasn't what they was supposed to be doing, because that ain't supposed to be the experience. I had to literally do so much work for her prior to her taking her classes. In spirit, people don't realize that witch. So first of all, I think that there's a lot of self-hating witches out there, and I think that self-hatred comes from the negative experiences that they're having in their youth, and they tend to hold on to those things. But those negative experiences that you had, they were trying to tell you something. It was like spirit was trying to tell you something. And then maybe also another thing, you didn't have the proper protection. And that's why you went through those things. and they carry those things with them, and they think, oh, everybody got to learn this way, and that's not true. That's somebody carrying a lot of hate with them. And did y'all know that the word witch, I believe it was in Latin or some other language, it means doctor, like physician, healer, and curses and things of that nature are not supposed to be getting put on babies. You got people out here putting curses on babies. That ain't what's supposed to be happening. And I look at a lot of these stories about certain stuff that be happening, and not in every case, but in quite a few of those cases that I see with tragic stuff happening, it's usually because of a spirit that got conjured on that person. And you know what? I couldn't even imagine. This is the reason why if I have to curse somebody, because curse basically means lesson, karma, curse, lesson. I usually protect that person unless that person is threatening my life. I'll tell my spirits, please just, let it happen to them, before they ever do being able to do something to hurt me. And I think that most witches feel that way. If somebody threatening your life. So that ain't what being a witch is about. Being a badass, all that stuff, that ain't what it's about. It ain't about, fighting and arguing and stuff like that. And I think now even more so. Really ain't about that. Like, especially the past 3 years. I think a lot of you guys that were smart enough to keep your hands clean of that, just like cursing random people. I could see what would happen to a person's mind and their heart to get them to that point. Something hurting them, real deep, like maybe loss or grief. And that's why they want to hurt others. But that would be just like I said, taking a gun and going out and killing a bunch of people. Same thing. Because when you curse somebody, you are also cursing the people around them. And you may be having a negative butterfly effect on a lot of people. A lot of people. That's just like that guy that murdered his baby mom over in Florida, right at the Home Depot. The people around her, some of them got grazed with bullets. Same difference. Witchcraft can be a very rewarding experience. And a lot of people think that, just because witches may work with dark goddesses, that means that you've got to, be evil. And, well, I mean, people can call you evil, but it depends on whose opinion. If somebody's trying to do harm to you and you overcome them, or you outwit them or outwill them, then yeah, they're going to say you evil. But to a person that you're helping and to yourself, you're not evil. You had to do that to that person so that they could stop. You knew you had to do that to that person so that they wouldn't hurt you. And see how people get hurt because at divine services, you know what we do? We banish bad spirits and bad energy. If it's bad energy that we can transmute, that's what we do. But we don't send necessarily that curse back to a person. That ain't what you do. But you know how people curse themselves? They conjure up the same spirit or either a similar spirit. and they're just obsessed in it. I call it like a spiritual psychosis. They just become obsessed and they just keep doing stuff and just doing stuff and just, I'm angry. Oh God. And they just keep doing it and keep doing it. And as they do that, they're cursing themselves. They're not protecting themselves. If you are a victim of witchcraft and a witch attacking you to that capacity, and you're just protecting yourself, you're in the clear. The person that is initiating this negative energy, they pretty much got to deal with it themselves. Okay. And sometimes those lessons can be very, very, very hard to where there's no options. It's just nothing for that person. So, I've actually dealt with clients that, they came to me, right after they filed a Chapter 7 bankruptcy or a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. And, they had a little extra money to go ahead and pay for some work to get done. Okay. And they rebuilt, they were able to rebuild their lives. Okay. And then sometimes you can create a situation to where, if you have debt, then you can manifest that. Okay. So where there's a will, there's a way. If you are somebody that has been attacked and, had bad spirits put on you and you've had bad things going on, I think that it's so many different things that you can do. Like, for example, if you're having bad luck, do some spell work to bring in good luck. It's all about intent. Extreme good luck to the 150,000 power. And it works. And all of it is powered by the sun and the moon and the other planets, and then also nature. So you don't have to worry about taking nothing from nobody. You're not taking away from somebody when you do that. So, people that think that witchcraft is all about the hate or the bad things or the curses and stuff, they're very bitter for some reason. And they got issues. But I want y'all to know that you'll be safe. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see any other way out except for the craft. And see, that is because, you know how, like, when you start practicing and you look back at your whole life and you say, damn, you realize how long witchcraft and bad witchcraft and baneful magic has been affecting you. And then when you start to practice, you realize, wow, my life is really now going somewhere. So, and it doesn't matter. It can be a Bible curse. It can be any kind of curse. You have every right to use the craft. Every right. It's listen. People that do stuff like that is because they really have a negative opinion of the craft of witchcraft within itself. And like I said, people that are Christian, they curse people every day. They do. And it sucks. It does, but you're going to be okay. I want people to know that. And if you feel oppressed by a curse or worried or nervous and agitated, then that's when you need to do some healing work on yourself. Or you may have a bad spirit that's on you and you need to get that off. And your body is going to tell you, your mind is going to tell you when you need to get it off of you. In fact, that's I only work with clients that are willing to take their spiritual baths. Typically, and I do have quite a few clients that aren't in a position to take a spiritual bath, so to speak. Um, but what I do tell them is that, you're going to see better results if you're able to take those spiritual baths along with the work that you're doing. Because bad spirits don't like baths for some reason. They don't like bath. They don't like warm water. They don't like water at all. Water kills bad spirits, and so does salt. It kills bad spirits. So, that's why it's important to do that. And then water also is water and salt. And then even certain herbs is like an antidote for negative witchcraft. But, we don't really, a lot of people don't really know about witchcraft outside of what they see in the movies. But if you notice, the Wicked Witch of the West, when somebody threw some water on her and she started melting, same thing. If you got the energy of a evil witch, a diabolical witch on you, taking a bath, getting in that water. And a bath is different from a shower. It is, because it's symbolic of the womb and it's symbolic of you being rebirthed. And sometimes you have to take several, but it's still better than a shower. Now, showers, what I like about showers is that if you know what you're doing, you can get that off of you. But if you need healing, then you need a bath. And a lot of y'all need healing. A lot of y'all actually need to dunk your head under that water and soak, because y'all got stuff that's deep. If you carrying something from your childhood, you have to take a bath. But you can get that stuff off of you. And don't let nobody make you feel bad for it either. Please stop doing that. Because, I think, especially when it comes to the church, I think that the church, when they talk about evil witchcraft, they're mainly talking about the evil stuff. They're not really talking about the good stuff. Okay, unless they ain't no good and they a snake in the grass. But the good things that you can do with it, it's very, very necessary. By the way, I have a lot of Christians and Catholics that come to me for work. Okay. So, and it's, so it's not necessarily the witches against the church, but it's the ones that, I think that religious people, they do believe in spirits. They know that it does exist. They're very real. Spirits are very real. They are. Okay. And so typically when you have a curse on you, it is because a spirit got conjured. If there's no spirit being conjured, then the curse will be very easy to reverse. If there's a spirit or several, or even a conglomerate of spirits, then you got yourself a serious, serious situation that can tear down your life. But you got to stay very clear on that. You got to keep a cool head and be very clear, and try to be as the saying, patience is a virtue. You got to be patient, and see a lot of y'all are not just being affected by people putting curses on you, but You being affected by other people with curses on them. Your co-workers, your classmates, if you in school, uh, your landlords got curses on them. And they doing stuff unorthodox. And you commingling with that energy too. You got a lot of stuff that's going on with that. And you do have to protect yourself from curses. That's why it's best to buy a house. But they even cursing these banks and stuff too. These banks is befalling under curses and stuff too. That's why I think that if you a witch and you have a bank account, I think you should bless your banks. Bless them banks and stuff, because if the bank go under, that's messed up. And if your bank is having financial difficulties, that could possibly affect you. And that bank dirt ain't gonna do you no good. So I think that when you working with certain entities as a witch, we're blessing everybody constantly because we know how to pull from source. The sun. Do y'all know the magnitude of the sun and why people? Oh, it was so hot this summer. You know why it was so hot this summer? Because the sun was had to amp it up. It's gotta be hotter. When things improve on this planet, then we won't have that. As long as we have people doing the things that they're doing, next year it might be 120 degrees in Alaska if people don't stop. So the sun is gonna react to the temperature on the earth of the people. So the sun, it had to be that hot. It did. And it was probably people out there having heat strokes and everything. You got to make sure that you stay out of the sun at certain times of the day, because the worse it is on this planet, the more powerful that sun, because it knows, and it can kill. Because the sun is source, and the moon is source as well. But the sun is very important. So that's why you see witches, like, you see a witch outside, we'll just put a water bottle out there, and it can be during full moon time. We'll just put a water bottle out, and y'all witches need to do this, okay? Don't do it for evil though, do it for your greater good. Take a bottle of purified water and put it out in the sun, and let the sunrise meet it, and then you got yourself some full moon water. And then you got sunrise water too, which is very useful. Okay. So the sun, there's so many different ways of pulling energy from the planets. Like, for example, um, there are certain times of the year when you can see Venus real clear, and you can take all your crystals out there and charge them in the moonlight or either in the sunlight, depending on what you're trying to do. Okay. So that's source. The universe is source. Okay. And we've been talking about people feeding off of other people. Um, and it's because that's the closest thing to you. The sun is millions of miles away, but it's still very close. Okay. But if you feed off of another person, that can be quicker. You know what I'm saying? But technically, you can feed from source your spells and stuff, which is everlasting. The sun ain't never going nowhere. In fact, I think they said there was two of them. So that's how the witches do it, you know. And I guess some people, if they having an emergency, you know, they feel like, well, let me, a lot of us as kids, when we were little and we was outside playing a lot, we got a lot of sun, whether or not we was outside playing or not, because a lot of people don't go outside because it's dangerous for these kids to be outside playing and stuff. You got to watch them. You got to watch them like a hawk because you just never know. One of them weirdos will be trying to walk down the street and snatch your kid up. So you got to watch them outside. But when we was kids, I know when I was a kid, it was still fairly safe for me to go outside by myself. These days, it's more difficult. So a lot of us, our age, we got um, more energy from the sun than the younger generations got. Okay. So that was building up in our blood, being out in that sun was building up. So a lot of us, especially when you started practicing the craft, your chakras and stuff and your energy was fully charged, like really, really charged up, right? It was amped up. And so it was a good source. You were a good source, especially if you're from generation X, because the sun got vitamin D, and then vitamin D helps the iron levels and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, my whole point that I'm making is that um there's a positive way to practice the craft, and it has nothing to do with which deities you work with. You can be a Satanist and still be a very positive person. I don't know why people equate the two. Well, I do know why, because of organized religion. There's some of the nicest, sweetest, kindest people that are Satanists. So that ain't always true. And then you can have some people that are the most evil, vile people that are Satanists. And then you got some people that, are not Satanists. You know what I'm saying? But they're evil and vile. But then you got some that are not Satanists. And I think it depends on who your spirit team is. Okay. Um, so I think that if you're somebody that's in a very negative place and you're doing all this negative stuff that's unjust, right? I think that you're just somebody that's begging for that lesson to be learned. You know what I'm saying? So, and no, I'm not Wiccan, even though it's nothing wrong with being Wiccan. I don't know why being Wiccan is like the kiss of death for some people. They be like, oh, no, I am not Wiccan. Oh, God, no. But I think that, being Wiccan, they're smart because what they do, like, for example, let's say that they do a money working or something. If you say harming none, it is done. What that means is that you're not going to have any tricks with it. It's not going to backfire. So basically, that's basically what harming none means, is that you don't want it to backfire. And there's a lot of you that are doing spells and rituals and curses, and that stuff ain't doing nothing but backfiring on you, you know? And so I don't do a lot of curses at all, believe it or not. If somebody does me dirty, I'll reverse it, bind them, make sure that, you know, they gonna get that torment. But I don't do very many curses because it just is not worth it. I'm a healing witch. I like to heal people. Good morning, Jen. Hey, girl. Hey. I like to heal people. Okay. So I don't like all that. I like to be happy. I'm just a very happy, jovial person. And I don't like that kind of stuff. Now, domination is a different thing. Sometimes you do have to dominate people. Sometimes you do. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Because sometimes you just ain't got time for certain stuff. But and I'm not talking about domination to do baneful, because domination can have a baneful intent to it. Domination work. So sometimes you got to really, really literally break down. everything, especially if you got a coven after you, because they all doing things to you. One person may have you in a domination working, and that's why you the Eight of Swords will come up in your reading. The Devil card will come up in your reading because it's domination or either judgment or death. Death can mean domination, okay? Or temperance. Temperance can represent a domination working. And so if a person has done a domination spell on you, what does that mean? That means that they, especially if you're a known witch and they're a witch, that means that they want their will to override yours, is what that means. Okay. So I think it's worth it when you get into the craft to make sure that you do those preventative things and not just have them kind of smack you in the face. And trust me, that's why my spirits want me teaching the witches, because I done been through so much stuff. I'm like a human voodoo doll. I done been through so much stuff, y'all. Oh God, I done had just about everything thrown at me. And so I learned the hard way. Y'all don't have to learn the hard way though. Why? For what? You think I would want to see another person go through anything that I went through? For what? Maybe a small fraction of it. I don't like human suffering. Okay, I'm very sensitive. I don't like that. I'm a loving person. Okay, so I don't like that. So I don't, and so I've learned, and I don't think that I look that bad. I done been drug around a little bit. Rinse, wash, repeat. Done been drug a bunch of times. I don't think I look that bad though. you know, I don't. I don't think I look like somebody done been through it like that. But boy, I can tell you that, I am working on getting myself in shape or whatever. And it's getting there, you know what I'm saying, getting in shape. But as far as like my skin and stuff, I don't think I look that bad, like I ain't got a hair full of white hair or nothing either. So, because I like to keep calm and do it. But that's one of the things I can tell you. They be doing all kind of stuff to you. And so you got to reverse that stuff, and you got to do preventative measures to make sure that those things don't afflict you anymore. Okay? Mhm. Cuz if somebody's dominating you, that means that they are taking like a management position over you, and so domination spells can work that way. So you got to it's so much stuff. It's so much stuff, and you got to be able to pay attention, to what's going on. Like even if you got things swirling around you, chaos all around you, you have to be able to, first of all, stop the chaos for a second, and you got to sit down and you got to think. Okay. Otherwise, you won't be able to figure those things out. You just be going through it. You don't know which way to go, and it's hard, you know? And some of this stuff can be hidden. You know what I'm saying? And I can tell you one thing that helped me out a lot was working with Lilith, because Lilith reveals so much to me that was being done in the dark. She did. She revealed a lot to me. And because here's the whole thing about it is that, and I do believe in divine timing. So don't ever think that you slow or you behind. Like for example, if you discover somebody done did a freezer spell on you to slow you down and to create stagnation in your life, and you realize it when you think that it's too late, guess what? It's never too late. That's why witchcraft will never die, because witchcraft is always going to be it. because it's never too late when it comes to witchcraft. Okay, to save yourself. It's not. I'm telling y'all. And so, and let's say that whatever that freezer working was, or binding that somebody put on you in a baneful manner. Let's say that it took 6 or 7 years to manifest, because sometimes it does, and you just now realizing it. Don't beat yourself up. Just roll with the punches. You're gonna be okay, and your spirit guides are gonna let you know. They're gonna let you know what moves to make, to how to deal with that. And then especially some of y'all that's having y'all homes attacked. So I totally understand. My home has been under attack for 3 years now. It's not my home. I'm renting it. It's been under attack for 3 years. It's terrible, you know, absolutely terrible. I told my spirits, I said, don't hurt these people too much. Don't hurt them too much because, because can you imagine, a lot of y'all, the stuff you done been through, you look at some of these people, the stuff that they will cast on you. You be thinking to yourself, that person deserved to die. But if they do die, what good is that gonna do? Because now you're dealing with a spirit. So them dying don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? That'll make it worse. So I don't want you know I really don't want anybody that don't like me, that done threw some stuff at me. I don't want nobody to die. I don't need that. Mm-mm. You know, because and you know what? Even though I'm in my 40s, I'm still very resilient. That's so weird. I think that, I think it's important to be resilient because you know what? Somebody can do something to me, and usually within a few hours or by the next day, I'm over it. You know why? Because life is too short for me to dwell on stuff. And then also, I think that when you perfect your craft, you can do what you got to do, throw it on in that jar or throw it on in that bottle and forget about it and live life and enjoy life. That's what you do. And if you sitting around tripping off of spiritual warfare and you upset and you can't figure it out and you mad and upset, well, you need to sit down and figure it out because otherwise you just going to be miserable your whole life. Just, and I like to be happy all the time. How many of y'all like to be happy all the time? Raise your hand. I like to be happy all the time. It's typically the type of person that I am. I'm usually very happy all the time, you know? So I don't like to deal with negativity. Okay. So, I try to be positive all the time too. And it's nothing wrong with being that way. If you a positive person, please don't change. Don't let none of that stuff change you because we need that. We need positivity and people being positive more than anything. The whole world needs it. Okay, everybody can't go crazy. Cause if everybody done went crazy, that mean that, oh my God, we in trouble. Okay. So don't think you looking foolish. And then, people that are usually very angry all the time, you know, every other day they got something to be angry about. Usually I feel like they got a bad spirit on them or whatever. Or either they trying to prove how big and bad they are. That's so silly. That's such a waste of a life, ain't it? That's a waste of a life. And those people are living that karmic life. They really are. Because, and they may look back next lifetime and be a different person, be a better person. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I think you decide who you're going to be in the next life when you die. I think you think about all the things that you did, and I think that your consciousness makes a decision to do things differently. Sometimes I guess it's up to you though. You know what I'm saying? I think you actually think in your mind as you transition, you think, I'm going to do things different next lifetime. You know, and it's in your the memory of your soul resonance. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to say to you guys. Um, don't lose hope. I don't believe that hope necessarily empowers the craft, but I think that when you lose that, I mean, you can have hope at the very least. Because when you lose hope, that means that you're giving up. So don't lose hope. You know what I'm saying? And people may get on your nerve or whatever. Try to stay away from people that get on your nerve. You know what I'm saying? You be okay. All right. I thought I'd come and have this little pep talk with y'all. Okay. Because when I can give y'all some kind of clarity or positivity, you know that it comes back to me. You know what I'm saying? It does. And that's why I don't like to come on here. And because you know what, when you get to complaining about things that you don't like, nobody actually cares. That's why I'm gonna quit doing that. Maybe if it's something little, but like I ain't okay, so I hope that this discussion helps some of y'all. I'll see y'all a little bit later. I gotta go. Okay, y'all have a good one. Have a happy Saturday. All right, y'all. Peace. Blessings. Bye bye.